Welcome back. Super Sports Saturday continues on AM 1250 KBRF. We got girls swimming and diving to talk about. Tom Uvaas is here. Tom, good morning. Well, got to turn that up to make sure that helps. All right. Well, one event this past week, right?
Well, we had one on Saturday. We had the Otter invite.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And that's okay. Don't worry. And then we had Sartell on Thursday, and so we actually had two events.
Yeah.
Well, Visitation came in and won that Otter invite, and you knew they were going to be a talented team, a lot of depth, a lot of top-line swimmers.
Well, nobody on this team will ever complain about not having enough competition, because we really did. We went against probably two of the best A teams in the state right now. Visitation is probably ranked because of their depth right up there in the top five, and of course Sartell is right up there because of the defending state champion. So, we raced against some really quality swimmers, and that's good for us because that's how you improve your time.
Tough to pick up first place finishes against a team like that.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing program, and Nathan does a great job. Both programs, and David Olson of Sartell. So, but what's always nice about in an event like this is you always have your lane, you always have your race, and we keep on reminding the girls that this is the time when you're going to really tweak your racing a little bit, because as you mentioned about football, it's going fast for swimming. Even though our section is buried in November, dual meet wise, we only have two more dual meets, and we have true team next Saturday. So basically, we have after MEA, we're really done with the majority of our season.
Are you pretty much set with your lineup right now, Tom? If you were to start sections now, are we seeing the lineup you would be putting out there, or are you still doing some tweaking?
Oh, we're getting closer, but our relays are really wide open, and we got to constantly remind the girls that, because sometimes they think it's like family, they adopt these relays, and we constantly have to remind them they can change any time, and they could change from prelims to finals in a meet. So I'm talking about sections or true team, whatever it be. But true team is going to be a good test for us. It's a long ways. It's going to be Warroad, but that's where sections will be, and we need to really look at their pool. And we're basically going there as a pilot test for sections, see what we can do. But like Sartell now, we move people around just a little bit just to give them a chance to swim with something a little bit different. Unfortunately, we're not deep enough where we can really move so many people around. So we still have to keep people. For example, Emily Reardhead's from the 100 breaststroke, and Emily Hexham had to also. So we had to keep some of our regular swimmers in their events, but Abby was able to swim the 200 IM at Sartell, which was good for her. It wasn't her best time, but she got a chance to swim it one more time, and she got some backstroke, which was her key event against a very good backstroker from Sartell.
And the final in that duel was 103 to 75 on the team scoreboard, but there are so many things, so many different ways you measure a success in the pool against a team like Sartell too, and each individual is racing against their previous best time and all that. Did you feel as a whole that night was a successful night?
Well, that's a great question, because while the boys are talking about football, I was going through best times, and we had 15 best times that night. So, and I would never have guessed that, because I thought we looked kind of sluggish. We're tired mentally and physically, which is what we want to be right now. We have spent a lot of time training. The effort of training is really up to the individual. All you can do is really present the package to them, and they have to decide how they're going to use the package. But I'll give you an example. We had probably 9 girls that had 6 practices Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They went 3 mornings and went 3 afternoons.
Wow.
And so not everyone did that, but there were about 9 of them. So when they came into Sartell, they were very tired, and we expected that. So plus it's an away meet and a little bit of travel involved, and so on and so forth. But I was impressed by how they handled their performances. I've always been impressed by the character of this team. It's just really one of the nicest teams we've coached.
This Otter invite this past Saturday, back to that for a moment, because I do want to talk about your seniors, and they're running out of home meets. This was their last invite. They've got one more duel at home, and you've got 4 seniors who, it's a pretty special day for them when that last Otter invite rolls around.
It really is, and we sent a little letter out to the parents saying that, a lot of times, especially with 7th and 8th graders, say, well, I've got Otters forever, but, when that last one creeps up, it becomes really, really important. And they did a great job. I think everyone swam one of the better times at the beginning of the meet. At the end of the meet, they're tired, and I had to explain to them a little bit about the physiology of this whole thing, that, they are there from 11:30 they're there, warm-ups are at 12, and we were out till 4:30. And if you do not, refuel a little bit, it's really hard to continue to do well, especially an invite like that. And that was our first invite. We went to an invite at the beginning of the year, which was a pentathlon, but that was kind of a holiday deal. But this is our first real deal, and I told him we got to really learn from this because our times are really fantastic. The first half, the second half, our times are pretty well plateaued a little bit, and of course, questions you wonder why, and then you realize that it's just that nourishment, how important nutrition is.
Yeah, I think back, Tom, to the way the invites used to be held, and how in the world did we do that? I mean, you guys would have your prelims in the early afternoon, and then the finals at night. You didn't have the timed finals, and it was like a 12-hour day.
Well, it was. It was crazy. We need to get out to 10 o'clock at night, and one year we had Minot here, and I remember it was a winter night, and they left at 10:30 Fergus time. I got in Minot at 3:30 in the morning. I mean, but those are the old days, so we don't do it. We're not quite so crazy anymore.
Yeah, the new format's a lot better for invitationals, I would say. Yeah. Let's highlight some of those seniors, and start with Rachel Appert, who, as we've talked about before, is doing double duty as a diver and a swimmer, but she had a great day as a swimmer and a diver.
She really did. She did 11 dives on Saturday, and she really dove well. Competition is pretty steep. There's a very good diver from DL, and then there's a very good diver from Visitation. So she took third, but her scores are very, very good. And then I was really impressed with what she did at Sartell. She took first place. We only took 2 first places in the varsity, and she had one of the two, and she actually won the diving by like 0.5 points. So she's really, I mean, her required dives look very nice. She got a lot of 6.5 sevens, and I'm sure she'll be wanting to tweak some of her higher difficulty dives. But again, for a girl who prepares so well, and then she'll swim anything for us. So she's a really team player and a very excellent athlete.
And Emily Hexum was on that winning 200 medley relay team at the Otter Invite. She's one of your senior captains who was here last week. She and Elise Anderson did a nice job in your absence, by the way.
I listened carefully because I picked up some tips from her. So,
I believe it. But there are a couple of swimmers who are making the most of their senior year, too.
They really are. And I think both of them would like to swim someday. At least I think that's good to hear because they'd be in a program and they would do very, very well because of their work ethic and because how conscientious they are. Emily's had a really good couple weeks here. Her breaststroke she's still trying to tweak. It's an event. That's a stroke that is really an interesting stroke, and it's really sometimes you just have to release it and just let it work. But she's swimming very fast times. Her relays have been very good. She has a tremendous relay start. Sometimes we have to coach her to go just a little bit slower because her reaction time is so good. But she has a very nice relay splits, and she's also done very well in the IM. And between her freestyle, she's swum that and she's done well too. Elise is a very passionate swimmer, and she's done really well, especially in the 50 and the 100. And she's been dropping time in both those events. The trick with the sprints is experiential. You have to really know what you're doing. It's kind of like catching a ball in football. You have to know where to make the right cut and how to just get the ball.
And Ann Childs, your fourth, the senior there, how was her week?
Her whole season's been really unbelievable. She is really she's a competitor now, and she's really has to step it up. And if I was a college coach, I would like to recruit this young lady because she's just ready to really start to break some times here. She's her fly has been very stable. She's great in relays, but her 2.5 freestyle is getting stronger and stronger, and we're just unfortunately going to run out of time for her. I know it sounds strange, but this is a girl who could use 6 months for a season because she's just beginning to get in the training where she can really hit it down, but she's doing great. I mean, and again, the support that these 4 give to our younger kids is really incredible, and I think that's one of the reasons why we've had such a great season.
Yeah, it was fun to hear them talk about that last week when they were here on the coaches show, and you mentioned that you didn't even know they were doing some of the things that they're doing, which is great.
Yeah, I did. I know about that little big sister, what they do, but and I think that's just great. That's and I think as parents that you really appreciate because all parents want to have their kids kind of in a quality area, where there's a little bit of people that care about them. And man, how super it'd be for an 8th grader to have a senior come up to you in the hallway and say, "Hi, how are you doing? Good seeing you," or something like that. That makes your whole day.
underclassmen continue to make a big impact for you too, like Danny Ross and of course Abby Fisher, who you mentioned earlier, and Emily Reard. Those three have just been so consistent for you in producing points and finishing high.
You know, they are, and they prepare well. And Danny Ross had a fantastic week. Remember, Sartell, she took the other first push we had, but not only that, she dropped time in 50, which is pretty amazing, by 0.2 seconds. And the 500, she dropped by 9 seconds. And that's not really her event, but it's a fun event to swim, but she raced it hard. And, of course, her relays have been spectacular. You know, she anchors our medley relay, and she anchored our 400 free relay to do so well in the Otter invite. Emily Reard is a very strong IMer. Here's a 9th grader who's swimming probably one of the toughest events for us, and she swims the IM really well. And she's strong. She's an amazingly strong young lady. And even when she's sick, you know, and she doesn't get... She's had some sicknesses, and, you know, some kids kind of... It's fun to see how they react when they're sick. And Emily is a champion, man. She just tucks it in and says, I'll do it, and gets it done. And, of course, she's done very well in the breaststroke. It has a very nice time drop, especially the last 2 weeks. And then, who was the other one you talked about? It was the third person.
Well, Abby.
Oh, Abby Fisher, yeah.
Don't forget Abby.
Abby is, here's Abby. Last night at practice, we're kind of doing a couple of different things, and actually going open 1,000 where they get to have some ownership, what they do at the very end. And Abby comes up to me and says, you know, I was watching some video on my turn against Sartell, and I noticed that my push-off wasn't quite right, so we worked on our push-off the wall a little bit. You just love people like that. You know, somebody who's really engaged in it and really trying to figure out how to get better. And she's really having a great year. Her dolphin kick is, I think, one of the best I've ever seen, and of course a lot of kids, so it's been fun to watch. But she swam a 102 in the 100 back, which is close to her best time. But she again went against a young lady that she have a chance to race against. We hope at state if we all stay healthy, and had a great race against her.
Well, it was an interesting week in a lot of respects. So you had the Otter invite started last Saturday. Then you're into homecoming week, and you've got a couple of girls of the royalty there, which was exciting.
Yeah.
And then you're going up against the defending state champs at a dual meet. It's just been quite a whirlwind week, I think, for these girls, and to be able to be focused on your races, you know, that says a lot about their training, I think.
Yeah, you know, and another thing that's really amazing is Friday afternoon practice was optional, and we had almost everyone there. And I was just surprised by that. I mean, and we tell kids never feel guilty if you can't make a practice like that, because, you know, you have to know how your health is and whatnot. So it's not where you got to be there and whatnot. But that's really an interesting thing, too. Our morning practices are primarily really optional because we're trying to work with, sometimes when you have a small group in the pool, it's a little bit better, but all 16 come. Because it could be for breakfast too, but
and last night, you know, it's cold weather out there, and you got Danny Ross out there, and Abby Fisher out there in the royalty, and the wind's blowing, the temperature's 35, and I'm thinking these girls have to be healthy for swimming. I hope they don't get a cold or anything, you know. But what a great experience for them, and to be involved in that.
It really is. You know, that's what high school's all about. You know, we really see the value of co-curricular with, of course, regular classroom, and you know, I mean, it's just, and what a great job, of course, the whole homecoming performance, especially the band. I mean, I would come up in the morning, I swim laps once in a while, and I would see Scott Cummerall practicing with that band at 7 o'clock in the morning. I got to tell you what, that's an extremely excellent coach right there, who, the way he coaches those kids is pretty amazing. I'm going to take some tips from him someday.
He does a tremendous job, and he and Denise,
the whole crew.
Yep, and then Michelle Danielson with the acapella choir. Just an outstanding night last night, and good to see Mr. I back directing the alumni band, the pep band last night. I think they had a good time, even though the weather was not real cooperative there. But yeah, it was a fun night. Now you look to your last home duel. You've got Rocori coming in on Thursday. Rocori's
going to be, I've been told that this is one of the best teams Rocori has ever had, which is really interesting for us because we really hope that we can end our season with a win. We've got an injury on our team. We've got a backstroker that's out because of a concussion. So, I mean, I don't think she'll be back. It's Emily Hawk. I don't think she'll be back by Thursday, possibly True Team, but it just depends. But that really tweaks our lineup a little bit, so we have to make a few changes there. But again, it's senior night, and it's a great opportunity to honor the seniors, and we have a little presentation just before the second half of the meet, where we get to honor them for just a second. And then we have a true team where we go to Warroad, and we'll be traveling next weekend, so we won't be here. We'll be in a different time zone, but we'll.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, what are the differences in the true team meet from a regular meet?
Great question. It's actually taken after the track programs of true team section. Everyone scores, so which is really good for our 7th and 8th graders, because we told them that they're really scores, so you have to really go. And I think in this event, I think we have a pretty good chance to take 3rd, 4th. But Mitch is really pretty deep. Park Rapids will be right in the hunt. But we'll be right up there. But it's a great opportunity to see what we can do in that particular pool and get used to the blocks, and for Rach, get used to the diving board, because that'll be the board that will take her to state. So that's why we're going. I mean, it's a long ways. It's a huge time commitment for us, but this is what you have to do if you're going to perform at another level.
And that is quite a facility, isn't it?
It is. And the people there are absolutely amazing. We don't mind going to Warroad. I tell you, they treat you right. They are just a very accommodating community, and their coaches. Her preparation for this meet is pretty astounding. We've had enough emails from her about this and that and so on and so forth. So it's a long ways, but it's a nice venue, and again, they treat us right.
All right, Coach. Enjoy the week.
Hey, thank you so much, and stay warm.
All right, Tom Uvaas with the Fergus Falls girls swimming and diving team.